How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. I watched The Way Out the other day and absolutely loved it. So thank you for making it.
Oh, thank you. It's always so wonderful to hear. It came
Um,
from here.
is it all right if I jump right in with my questions?
Absolutely. Whatever you lead the way.
All right. So I hear that The Way Out is based on your own experiences. Um, Feel free to elaborate on those experiences, but I really just want to know like what inspired you to tell this story.
Well, my childhood. Um, Shane is, he's the escapism. He's the fun. He's the my bodyguard I never had, and the kind of guy I wish I had, because he would have showed them. But on my own, I was Alex. I kind of took the timeline and squeezed it all into the age of like 25. A lot of my story was more spread out. Um, but the trauma did happen. The abuse happened as a child, and it did wreck me for many years. The wiring was off. And years and years of therapy, sobriety, it took a village to get me to be sane. Um, and I would say that that's the age I started working out. So I threw that in there. Um, that's the age I was doing a lot of drugs and drinking and I couldn't put a decent life together. And because of the abuse, I was very shut down. I had intimacy issues. I mean, all of that stuff about Alex um, is true for me. And the song, oh, not the singer. I embellished a little because I can't sing, so I let Alex be the singer. But I did write, and that's what that's based on. There's even I know you. This is the actual chip off the old block that
Oh, wow.
I replicated for the movie,
Yeah.
and that's me as a little kid. And so we did end up. I will say the message of forgiveness is also part of my story. Because and we don't forgive what people did, but we forgive to be free. We forgive to let go. We forgive because I look back at my life and I've made a million mistakes, some worse than others. And if I don't compare the mistakes and I just say, you know what, if I forgive myself, I have to forgive other people. And because of that forgiveness, we ended up with a great friendship like 4 months before he passed. So I was actually really glad for the timing of the forgiveness. I wished I had done it earlier, but you do it when you do it when you're ready. So that's that. That's how it poured out of me. And that chip off the old block that sits next to me. I wrote my dad a song called "Chip Off the Old Block." It broke. It really just made his day. And then 3 days later in the mail, I got the chip off the old block that he had been keeping his whole life. And now he's gone, so I just have it next to me. And that was the inspiration for starting. Like I had, I knew this story was in me, believe me, for years, and I wasn't ready. I just emotionally, spiritually, whatever, I just was not ready to share this. I don't know if it was, waiting for certain family members to be gone because I didn't want to spoil their memory or something like that. But I've been staring at that chip off the old block going one day, one day, one day. And I felt, you know what? I'm okay. I can do this. I can do this. And I've been wanting to tell the story, so let's tell it.
What was it like for you to explore all of this uh for the film?
Um, you know, because of therapy, a lot of it I have been discussing and digging with and examining for a lot of years. Um, a lot. So I was used to acknowledging its existence and remember and going back and remembering it. However, I chose a house that is a replica of the home I grew up in. And I did not expect when I walked into it to be as like the chills went through me. You
Wow.
know, like there was times I was in like my bedroom watching the monitor while the trauma was happening in the master bedroom, and I was just like, this is, and doing basic things like blocking with the DP of something that happened to me as a child that was so horrible felt so matter of fact and casual that the whole thing just was like, what the hell is going on here? So, but you know, all in all, um, I think it went rather well. I was surrounded by really wonderful people who let me know they're giving me my love and support, their love and support to get through the tougher scenes. But I'm glad I did it a replica of the house, and I'm glad I told it because there is a message of survival that I would like to pass on. And it's not just more than survival. It's like I'm so glad I survived because I have a wonderful life. And just like Alex, I didn't want to survive. To me, suicide was just an option in my back pocket. Like if this continues to suck, I'm just gonna do that because this sucks. But there was a tiny little voice that just said, "Oh, hang in there. One day you'll be away from them." That's it. Just one day you'll be away from them. And one day I was. And I did cut them out for 2 years. I mean, we're talking all contact. Changed my phone number because I was just damaged. And my therapist at that time said, if you don't cut them out, you're never going to begin to heal. Like 5 minutes on the phone and you'll be back where you started. And I was like, yeah, I get that. But we'd be screaming at each other on the phone. I said, I hate you to my dad more than I said, I love you know, growing up. So, so yeah, so it was challenging. It didn't it wasn't easy. But it was easier than I thought it was going to be. So I was glad for that. And it was kind of cathartic. It was the most disturbing scene was the flashback. That was really disturbing for me.
Mm.
It kind of turned my stomach. But it would for any kid going through that, you know, for not even if it wasn't me, it would turn my stomach to hear of anyone being put through that. So I just hope the message of forgiveness and hang in there really shines because it's worth it. It's worth waiting. It might suck right now for some people. I get it. It sucked for me for a long time, well into my teens until I was 20. But I wouldn't be here now with this movie, with this life, with a husband, 4 rescue dogs, a lovely home. I'm healthy. All this stuff would just not be if I had just tossed in the towel.
Yeah. Um, why, sorry, why title a movie The Way Out?
Good question. Really good. So, if you want to know a little backstory, I when I originally wrote it, it was called Aroused. Now, you have to know that I'm into horror movies, Disneyland, and musicals. I have a G-rated mind or a slasher film mind. When I called it Aroused, it was about something that has been awoken in you.
Oh, okay.
You know, something, you know, like Alex has been woken up.
Yeah.
And it was everyone else who said, are you really keeping the title Aroused? I'm like, yeah, it seems like it's perfect. Um, they're like, and they explained to me that, you know, people will think it's this, not that. And I was just like, oh, I guess. It didn't really occur to me. I guess that the thought flew through my mind, but to me, it really meant the other thing that I liked it. Um, but then the way out. So the big book of AA was originally called The Way Out, or is going to be called The Way Out. And that's what, you know, we talk about in sobriety. We found the way out, you know. And I had just recently heard that, and we were trying to think of a new title. I was on Zoom with Mike Manning, and I just said, well, you know, I just recently heard The Way Out was going to be the name of the big book. And he's, The Way Out is perfect. Before calling it The Way Out, there is a line that Shane has where he actually says The Way Out. And I was like, oh my God, how perfect is that? It was just meant to be. So
Nice,
That's
nice.
where it came from. That's the story.
Um, Speaking of Mike, you have your whole cast is pretty stellar, to be honest. So what
Very
went
lucky.
into casting Alex and Shane, and then what made Johnny and Mike perfect for those roles?
Oh, these are great questions. Um, so Mike and Nick were coming on as producers, and I only met them on Zoom. It was kind of during COVID. I had moved to Henderson, Nevada. Here I am, and they were in LA. So I'd only met them via Zoom. And as I got to know them, and they're both very talented. They're both actors actually and producers. Um, Mike got very busy, and he said, I need to go do some stuff, and I will circle back um, while you guys keep working on the pre-production." And one day on Zoom with Nick, I said, "Has Mike ever mentioned wanting to be Shane?" And he said, "He's not mentioned it, but if you want me to, I'll ask him." I'm like, here's the truth. When I was writing it, like in the dark of my room with my laptop in my lap, it looked like Ryan Reynolds in Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Super tall, beard, man, like lumberjack, intimidating. Yeah, like you'd be afraid just as soon as he walks in. But I kept going back to Mike. There was a Boy Next Door quality. I'd look at some of the stuff he did, and he was really good. um, there was just an energy that just sent me that direction. And I've been saying this. I've done a few right things in my life. One of them was to ask Mike to be Shane because he brought. Then he said, "Okay, let's do this. We are brothers in arms. I'm going to move over to EP, to executive producer, so I don't have to wear a producer hat and an actor hat." And he dove in. He gained 13 pounds of muscles. He learned to box like a pro. I mean, that's all brand new to him, what you see in the movie. And he just brought so much humanity to Shane, which was needed. There needs to be a sympathetic side to him. And Alex, Johnny Beauchamp, that's a funny one. So Johnny, the casting director, hit me up on the phone or text or something, said, "There's an actor, Johnny Beauchamp, who got a hold of your script, and he wants me to introduce you on Zoom now, right now." And I mean, we're talking COVID. I mean, sure, I got nothing but time.
Yeah.
So I said, sure, why not? I like the urgency to it. So I met Johnny. He could not be more the opposite of the Alex in my head because I was a nebbishy Jewish boy, and it was obviously coming from me. Um, but the first thing he said is, "Well, how do you know cities like Slopesburg and Nyack?" I said, "Because I was raised in Rockland County." He said, "I was raised in Rockland County." I mean, we just started connecting on all these weird things. He said, "I know the roles I've played up until this don't show you that, but this is me. I can do this. I have to do this. You have to let me do this." He was so passionate and determined, and of course, crazy talented. Um, that I just suddenly saw, like, no, I knew I would know it when it happened. And we went looking and we went looking, and then Alex came and found us. Johnny came and found us. And I was like, okay, this is it. I just know he's it. He's the one.
I love it.
He got it because of Ashley Murray. So they're good friends and they have the same manager. And so she got the script for Gracie and she told him about the role for Alex. And when he read it, that's when he was like, this has to be me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So what's up next for you? Are you working on anything, or are you still, I guess, finishing
I
out?
am. Right now, working on promoting the release of this, but writing wise, I finished a script called Like Father, Like Son, and we're in what I guess you call it pre-production, where we're casting and funding and all that kind of stuff, and looking very forward to doing that one. It was a fun script to write, and it involves a serial killer father on death row whose son starts to feel the same urges and visits him. Um,
Oh, interesting.
and it's yeah, I had to do a real deep dive into the world of serial killers, which was interesting. And now I'm a true crime addict. I never was before, but now I'm stuck. And I'm so into it right now. But it helped me learn the psyche. It also helped me with writing some the stuff more realistically. I like authenticity. And then my husband and I just finished a Christmas movie script. If you're listening, Hallmark. It's actually somewhere on the fence between Hallmark and leaning towards Netflix. It's a little too edgy, just a tad too edgy for Hallmark, but it could be easily sanded down. But it's fine for Netflix. But we love Christmas movies, and it's actually a really cool idea. It's one I've never seen. It might be the second plot Hallmark ever produced.
Wow. Um, and is that one going to be made, or is that one?
This one is just in the writing phase and the rewriting phase, I should say. He's going through my last rough draft of it and making notes, and then we'll sit down with it together, and then we'll go back in and apply the notes, and then onward with it, on to hopefully pre-production. Fingers crossed for Hallmark. I love Hallmark. I'm not. I have no shame. Those Hallmark Christmas movies get me.
No judgment here.
Every one of them. It's so good. It's so Christmas.
Yeah.
That's what I'm working on right now. You know, that and getting myself out there. You know, to be honest, I've done all I've done with the help of others, but on my own, meaning no representation. You know, I'm doing fun stuff, like I just edited my director's reel and bios and stuff like that, and just so I have something to send out to people, because I'm counting on after the movie comes out, that'll be handy to have.
For sure, for sure. If we want to stay up to date with you, your upcoming films, and anything else you're doing, where can we follow you?
So I'm not great at social media, but I do have Instagram, and I am at Barry Scares. And a lot of it's quotes of the day, but then when there's some movie stuff happening, I'll post that. So I do post the movie stuff there.
Nice, nice.
And then the Way Out film on Twitter. We have a Twitter. It's not mine, but we have one. At the Way Out film. And there's always news there.
Awesome. All right. Before I let you go, is there anything about The Way Out that you want to add that we haven't talked about?
Oh, you know, it's a unique revenge thriller. I don't want to give things away, but I hope people, after they see it, I hope it opens up a lot of conversations that would have been harder to start without the movie.
I definitely think it will.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. The message is so important. And I mean, I would just say to everyone, do not miss the performances. They're so good. They're just so good. I got very blessed. I always told them, you guys make me look like a really great director.
Yeah, yeah, I love the movie, and I can't wait for your next stuff. So thank you for chatting.
Oh, thank you so much. We'll keep you posted. Thanks for having me. This was wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. You have a great rest of your day.
You too, Beth. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.